1987, and a new country has just been born. This country was France. However, the royal domains in France really had this tiny darker land, while the now feudal kingdom had a ton of countries. And while united here, they were not united in their conquests. They conquered separate lands for themselves. For example, the Normans conquered England. Similarly, several conquered several places in Europe. Now, why am I talking to you about this? Now, for a competition, of course. Why else? FIFA just ended. I should do something, don't you think? And recently I came across a map that was quite interesting. It showed every single part of the world that was once French. And actually there is a lot of areas that were once French. Without further ado, let's begin. These are our qualifying contestants for this game. Of course, France is not included because it's France. Andorra and Monaco are also not included since they're associated states. And I'm only using the countries the UN recognizes, plus the Cook Islands and Niue. So anyway, let's begin the match. First off, we have round 1. Core France. In this round, we're gonna eliminate every single country that was once fully incorporated into France, because then you automatically have some French tastes. Here, we eliminate some countries' dreams, mainly in Europe, because of the Napoleonic Wars. We eliminate Spain, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Germany, Austria, Slovenia, Croatia, and in Africa, Algeria. Now, that is done, it's time to get a little bit hardcore. And I found this brilliant map to help me. Next, we're removing all colonial stuff. This means if you were once French, then you're not French. Yeah, we eliminate a lot of people this time. We eliminate Canada and the USA, expected in North America. We also eliminate Haiti, but also the Dominican Republic, since Haiti once controlled the Dominican Republic. An interesting one is Brazil, but that's because France colonized some parts of Brazil before Portugal kicked them. We also eliminate a lot of areas in Africa, including some you might not expect. For example, Nigeria. And that's because, well, there was like a tiny pocket that was part of France for once that it was there. We also, in Asia, eliminate India, China, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia. China is weird, but it's because of the Tianjin concession. In the Middle East, we eliminate Turkey, Syria, and Lebanon. Syria and Lebanon were controlled by France, and even a tiny bit of Turkey was controlled by France too. And this is a great time to add that even if a little part was a colony, it still counts as an elimination. Here we barely have any countries in the running, and we have eliminated around a half of the world's land. And we've also eliminated quite a lot of the population as well, as India and China have been eliminated. And as they commit to around a fourth of the world's population, that means at least more than that is French. Now it's time for round 3. What must the countries do? Well, they have to not be former unincorporated states. If you didn't know, during the Napoleonic Wars, Napoleon vassalized a ton of states and turned them into republics. Like, for example, Switzerland became the Hellenic Republic. These were basically used to assert dominance over continental Europe. And these are all the countries that fall. You see the most recognizable, but then you also see Russia, which is weird. But yes, apparently they were a tiny part of it that was vassalized for some time. Next is round 4. Early French conquests. For example, this video basically what I'm talking These French conquests were basically what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. During this time, France was feudal, so it conquered a lot. And when we talk about that feudalism, we eliminate many countries. For example, the UK has been eliminated, and also Portugal. Also, many areas within the Habsburgs' reign have also gone, although not fully. However, we need to continue to get tough. After all, there can only be one winner. So round 5 will be the greatest extent of the former French areas. Basically, all the countries that have been eliminated will now play a factor in the other countries. Basically, after the date that they have been Frenchified, then, well, if they controlled you, then you are also eliminated. Which means if you're a colony, considering most of Europe is down, including most of the colonial powers, actually almost all of them, then you're not going to do so well. Now, let's see. And I don't want to do this rushily since it's going to be big. So let's look one by one. The Spanish colonial empire. I'm talking about most of the remaining countries in the Americas will be gone. In fact, considering the UK, the Netherlands, and France itself are gone, these countries are also going to be gone, meaning there will be no countries left in the Americas. Also, considering how all of Oceania has been colonized before, Oceania will all be gone. Now, will Asia be gone? Now, you may think Afghanistan will survive, but it won't, since it was a vassal of the UK for quite some time. So, North America, South America, Oceania, and Asia are gone. And that leaves two continents, Europe and Africa. And these are where our three finalists will stand. They are San Marino, Sweden, and Ethiopia. And no, I'm not counting the Roman Empire for San Marino, since, once again, that was before Italy was Frenchified. Frenchified. Anyway, now that we're down to these, we're going to have to do something different for these countries, since they have defied all expectations. Now, we're going to have to use the thing I've been trying to avoid. Military occupation. A quick note, military occupation is not really a valid tool to talk about French ethnics. Because if you were occupied by a country, you're just militarily occupied. It's not like you're colonized for a long time, you're just occupied. So, talking about that, it's time to talk more France. Man, that's weird. So we have our three finalists, San Marino, Sweden, and Ethiopia. Which one will go first? The answer is San Marino. San Marino has been occupied quite a lot by the papacy. And since the papacy was temporarily under French control, even for a few seconds, and during the Napoleonic Wars, it was French for a long time, then this has got to go. We see San Marino is often thought to be the country that was never invaded, the republic that always stood. And while that is sort of true, since the Pope would always get out within like a few days is not valid time. Next, we have Sweden and Ethiopia. These two countries are the two finalists. Let's see who wins. Sweden is a European country, and it is very likely they have been invaded and occupied by European powers. That is, when they were not independent. But its most recent incarnation, in the 16th century, was never occupied. And since Finland is today independent, and so is Norway, and so is a lot, we're not counting that. Ethiopia was one of the few countries that was never colonized by European powers. In fact, it's one of the three, the others being Saudi Arabia and Liberia. Even though Liberia was for some time under the USA. Ethiopia. You see, there's kind of, how do I put this? A problem. Because although Ethiopia was never colonized, it was occupied by Italy. Considering this, and how Sweden was not occupied, Ethiopia is eliminated, giving Sweden the trophy. of least French. Least French. But these two are at least some honorable mentions. They are also, in some degree, not French, as they have never been colonized by French in any way. And Sweden has been colonized back when it was like maybe 2 states. So we can't really give Sweden all the glory. Considering Ethiopia was only militarily occupied, Ethiopia in some ways is one of the best. Which means Ethiopia gets the honorable mention from me, who I think should have won. It was an interesting video. If you'd like to see more, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm currently working on a video about FIFA again, and another video on Brazil. I'm also planning on making another video on the USA and also Canada. Alright, I'm making a lot of videos, okay? So if you want to be notified about those, I would recommend liking and subscribing. Why aren't you doing it? Go do it!